Peace. Man, happy now. Now's the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Now's the vibrate, of course. Gonna revisit the Eyes Wide Shut vibes. Matter of fact, the movie Eyes Wide Shut. If you haven't watched it, you definitely might want to check it out. Uh, Again, which I'm talking about the programming of it. So, which we're checking it out, you'll get the rundown and whatnot to I mean, watching stuff, in essence, it does program your subconscious, but not to the point of like, like as long as you're consciously aware. But it indirectly still throws those symbols to the subconscious, so you do have to be conscious aware. But anyway, speaking a little bit about the Eyes Wide Shut vibe, and more so speaking to the fact of how it was set up as a initiation, within the movie, but also like, so basically it's like a particular template of movie making, especially like from the esoteric, or more so like this like a British intelligence approach, or just like like a intelligent agency approach in general, where basically they indirectly programming our subconscious where with exposure. So with a lot of us, conspiracy theories, we trying to find out. Matter of fact, like with Eyes Wide Shut, here it is, all of us be looking like, for this stuff that they so say hiding, but here it is, shit, you got a movie where they put it on blast about, the little sex orgies behind the scene, the upper echelon people doing a little thing with that, and hiding from everybody. The little sacrifices, the quote unquote murder, stuff like that. It's by exposing that, through movies, it's not just, exposing, but it's also programming. And I get into that. Matter of fact, and before I start getting more into this video, this may be some information that may be put like this, where some other beings or people may not want people to really get into this, because this is my second take, and not that I did a take purposely. I'm 7 minutes in doing my video, and then all of a sudden, the first time this ever happened, where the Alexa thing, I got this little Fire notebook or whatever, this little Amazon little thing, and the little voice, so like the Siri of this thing, Alexa, just pop up, stop my video, and popped up like, I don't understand that word or whatever, and then stop my video and stop. Like, oh, all right, I get the picture, I know what time it is. But anyway, getting into it, exposure is a chess game. The conspiracy theorist feels like they gain knowledge by finding out certain secrets, not realizing that they are being indirectly programmed or initiated into the situation. So, with the eyes wide shut, we like, damn, like, all right, they exposing that to us, you know what I'm saying? And, I use the word, for lack of a better word, conspiracy theorists, it ain't really no conspiracy. But anyway, well, it is people conspiring to do things secretly, whatever. But the person that's the conspiracy theorist is like looking for these things, looking for the stuff about these orgies behind the scene, or stuff like Bohemian Grove. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, go research that if you're unfamiliar with because Bohemian Grove vibes kind of dip into this vibe as well. But we want that insight. We want to get more and more inside information. But to a certain extent, by getting some of that inside information, you're indirectly programming yourself or being initiated. Now, this movie was formatted in a vibe to, in essence, initiate you. Matter of fact, and after the program or being initiated, now your imagination is creating this situation, like in your mind after watching it, like you kind of like recreating the movie in essence, because your curiosity is still in there. So matter of fact, giving conscious focus to it, making it easier for it to manifest. That's their whole vibe with it, is like to implement it into our subconscious. Because regardless if they may be exposing themselves, the exposure is a indirect chess game. Like as you're being exposed to it, you kind of also focusing on it and may recreate it in your own life or just give it energy in general for it to manifest more. As a matter of fact, speaking from the book, uh, Jay Dyer, Esoteric Hollywood, Sex Cults, and Symbols in Film. So basically, right here, going from the book, not only is it supposed to be an initiation for the couple in the movie, the intention is to initiate the viewer, or us watching, through revelation of method. So basically, through revelation of the method. So basically, initiating us by showing how the initiation even pop off, because that's what you're watching. You're watching Tom Cruise get initiated into the little cult, and by watching him get initiated secretly, and you seeing how they secretly initiating him without knowing, you kind of getting initiated into the situation as well, especially by the revelation of method, or again by exposure. The chess game of exposure. I exposed this to you, but I'm also kind of programming your subconscious with it, and to a certain extent, also it could be like not only initiating people, but another one that's not mentioned. It could also indirectly cause fear, because some people are fearful of these situations. So it'll create that situation for you by you fearing it. You know what I'm saying? Again, Hollywood, the wood from a holly tree, magic. You know what I'm saying? The subconscious don't know it's not watching the movie, or like say for instance, like when watching the movie, you ever watched the movie and picked up that feeling, like as if you're in the movie. Like matter of fact, for example, like whenever with me, whenever a guy has trouble speaking to a woman or stepping up to the plate with dealing with a woman, he get to like that, always like, man, come on, man, and I start to feel it like as if I'm in the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like as if it's a real life situation going on around me. You know what I'm saying? And that's how the programming is. Like the subconscious don't know if it's the past I'm talking about, the future I'm talking about. It can't tell if it's me talking or I'm listening to a song or watching a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all, just programming, in essence. So again, to read this little statement thoroughly. Not only is it supposed to be an initiation for the couple, the intention is to initiate the viewer through revelation of the method to the nature of this cryptocratic underground, assuming one is willing to see. So assuming that you are that curious, this is an initiation process, not only in the movie, but for you as well. And again, go check out the other video I did on Eyes Wide Shut, matter of fact, and Black Panther. But again, it's just this couple, they go through their little vibe. Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, they married, get into a little fuss. And Tom Cruise like, you know what, I'm going to look for some sex outside because matter of fact, because the fuss was about like Nicole Kidman having a dream about having sex with somebody else, and two, the movie bringing you in and out of this like fantasy dream like realm where you can't really tell what's a dream, what's synchronicity, but at the same time, having a realistic vibe nonetheless, So it's a real, like if you're looking for a real cult movie, and even down to again points where they got like little pentagrams and circles in the background, to just give you that vibe, especially towards the end when they shopping at the Christmas shopping for their daughter, and they got like little games talking about magic circle in the background and little pentagram stuff like that. Again, initiation for them in the movie, but that's also initiation for you as a watcher. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it. You seeing all these little pentagram and nothing. The pentagram basically is a upside down star in essence of just saying bringing, the higher light into the body. You know what I'm saying? The Lucifer vibe, just generally without like the extraness that other people may add to, just being a light bearer of Lucifer. We all are that aspect of source or God or whatever, all that is, that Lucifer aspect, the light bearer. Now, also a little more insight on this situation from a brother named Michael Hoffman II. Matter of fact, again, kudos to J Dive for having all these little references. But so Michael A. Hoffman is an American author, lecturer, and revisionist historian. Hoffman is a vocal critic of rabbinic Judaism, like a rabbi, rabbinic Judaism and Judaism, and is the author of the alternative research classic Secret Societies and Psychological War. So that might be something you could check out, something that he wrote. And let me start again. American author, lecturer, and revisionist historian, Hoffman is a vocal critic of rabbinic Judaism and is the author of the alternative research classic Secret Societies and Psychological Warfare, where the notions of twilight language, ritual symbolism, and Freemasonic subterfuge are emphasized. I ain't familiar with the word subterfuge, but like twilight language, if I could recall, is kind of like, little key, little words, kind of like, not say euphemisms, but twilight language, like kind of like the Wizard of Oz vibe, I can't really, and I digress since I can't recall what it is for sure. But it is something in that nature. And so also, I'm bringing up Michael Hoffman because I'm about to read a statement that he spoke on. Basically, Michael Hoffman explaining the notion of revelation of the method from a British intelligence perspective, you know what I'm saying? So he's speaking on it from the way the British intelligence operate. Now, they don't say that he was a British intelligence agent, but, obviously he has some insight on what it takes, or, what they deal with. So basically he says, speaking on the movie in essence, more so against that initiation process I'm speaking on. This demonstrates one of our simpler methods. Realizing that our activities will sooner or later come to light, we structure our activities so that as a conspiracy researcher unravel them, they will release information in such a way that it mirrors our initiation procedure. In this way, the more we are investigated, the more masses of people are psychologically processed by the people who seek to expose us. The meme that constitutes our structure is then successfully mimicked within the consciousness of those who investigate us. Success can then be measured precisely to the extent that our work is exposed. So I'll reiterate, start from the beginning. This demonstrates one of our simpler methods. You're talking about the initiation process, for the British intelligence, as far as like exposure. So realizing that our activities will sooner or later come to light, so all the little espionage and, now that's why they do these movies late, like, Sniper and all these things, showing like all that shit they did. It's like, in essence, killing two birds with one stone, literally and figuratively speaking. But all right, realizing that our activities will sooner or later come to light, we structure our activities so that as a conspiracy researcher unravels them, they will release information in such a way that it mirrors our initiation process, our initiatory process. So, as a conspiracy theorist is, coming across the information, they delivering the information in such a way that when that conspiracy theorist come across it, and relaying the information to somebody else, they gonna basically like indirectly be initiating somebody into the process, again, indirectly. So it's like a indirect initiation, And also, they're saying like in this way, the more we are investigated, so the more like a conspiracy theory is looking up, what's going on with us, and like, look for this or let me look for that. I wonder if this person is. I want, you know what I'm saying? You get into that mind, and then that's when you're going down the rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? Like again, I'm like say for instance for me bringing up this movie, and let me just say that as I'm speaking on this, this is just to be aware of how movies, how deep the science of like occult science of like what the directors of these movies, like they really really deep into the occult, like really trying to program your subconscious on a higher level. So that's why I'm just exposing that, but not for us to again be focused in on it, just like how they saying like be focused into where we recreating the shit as well, but the more masses of people, oh, all right. In this way, the more we are investigated, the more masses of people are psychologically processed. So they're saying like the more we are investigated, the more that. So say for instance, a conspiracy theorist is gonna walk around psychologically processing the people around them, trying to see like I wonder if that person in a cult. I wonder if that person in a cult. That person a cult. Like it's gonna have you in that mind frame. That's the mind frame that it's trying to, put you in and create, And basically we're saying this meme that constitutes our structure and this successfully and then wait. The meme that constitutes our structure is then successfully mimicked within the consciousness of those who investigate us. So, in the conscious of the people who are the conspiracy theorists and always looking for this, the structure of their initiation process and what goes on is successfully mimicked within, the consciousness of this person. So, basically, the conspiracy theorist is walking around indirectly initiating people into the process just by, having that, psychological processing vibe or, analyzing everybody, wondering like, and again, and just being in the thoughts of that situation again, and as that person, say for instance, watch that movie again, because indirectly, if I wasn't informing you for the better, I would be doing the same thing right now to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's like the conspiracy theorists walking around and like, say, have you heard of this? This Illuminati situation. This is, what I'm saying, and exposing where indirectly you welcoming them into that world. Like at first their eyes was, wide shut, like where it was open, but they didn't really know. But then you kind of just open them up a little more about like, I just watched this movie and man, they had the sex orgies and this and that. And at first, they and say as I'm telling a personal story, because even like I'm telling y'all again, I'm doing exactly to a certain extent what it's speaking on. If I wasn't cleaning it up by saying, hey, this is their game, pay attention to it, be aware of it, so you don't fall into it. If I wasn't doing that part, I would be doing the exact same thing that this is speaking of, as far as like initiating everybody into this process, indirectly, and that's the whole vibe behind, movies like Eyes Wide Shut, where, you think you like, oh yeah, they exposing their stuff to a certain extent. Maybe the Da Vinci Code is somewhat like that. I ain't watched it in a minute, but with Nicolas Cage. No, not Nicolas Cage. That's the National Treasure, which is similar to Da Vinci Code though. But the Da Vinci Code with Tom Hanks, I think. But that whole vibe of like bringing you into that realm, which this book don't speak on it, but that kind of has that vibe as well, just like exposing what they doing, but in essence bringing you into that realm as well, because now that your subconscious done seen that, whether you're not consciously aware of you focusing on it, or even though you're not consciously aware of it being in your subconscious, it's still like, back there, in essence, working on you. Now, and two, just again bringing up the vibe of, so matter of fact, and that's why I need to get me a dream symbol book, because another thing with breaking down movies as well, for the deepness of it, and I gotta laugh at myself, because when I first was like with my channel, with my playlist with breaking down movies, I wasn't really breaking them down in the real esoteric occult manner, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of breaking them down in a little simple manner, which I kind of made, you know, I showed how they was trying to program subconscious on a deep level, but not as deep as how I'm understanding it now, you know. But being able to know what dream symbols are will help us at decoding movies better, because they use a lot of these same symbols within their movies, you know. Like, say for instance, uh they may have a owl at a certain point to represent wisdom or something, you know, to program, you know. But the one I thought of, a good example, is like having a garden. So a garden in the dream, or gardening in the dream or in the movie, because again, they trying to, because the subconscious, you know, as the dream realm, you know, as well, you know, that's what our subconscious is programmed by as well. Or in essence, our dreams is a playback of our subconscious. So you know, vice versa. But anyway, the garden, taming the garden, or having a garden in your dream or in the movies, is a aspect what it symbolizes is taming nature. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like, because think about like a garden is, you know, you seen like when you go in the woods and grass growing all over the place, and you know, just wow, nature. But then, you know, they got a garden showing the taming of nature. And say for instance, they'll have something like say for instance, they're trying to send the message to melanated people to tame their nature, you know, because they're trying to keep us locked down or whatever. They would have a part in the movie where, you know, either a person gardening would be telling, you know, would be giving a person, a black person or melanated person, advice in the movie. So like, say for instance, the gardener, like, yeah, you know, you should do this and you should do that, you know, and you need to do this in life and that in life, you know. And the gardener, you know, person gardening, telling that to the melanated person, that's trying to subconsciously program you like, hey, you should tame your nature, because indirectly, you know, that person is being scolded by somebody like about, like, you know, you should do this, you should do that, while the visuals of you know, while they have the visuals of gardening, like also an added subconscious message of, you know, you should tame your nature. You know what I'm saying? And that's how deep, you know, these movie symbols and stuff go. Matter of fact, and that's the level that out. So when I was talking about movies in the past, like I wasn't getting that in depth, you know, because again, like knowing these dream symbols is what really gets in depth. And matter of fact, so, and if you having a dream about, like, you know, gardening or something of that nature, you know, nature is about taming the nature, you know. And you could go in depth to that. Maybe telling you need to, because some of us may be, you know, they're too far out there for what our purpose is, and you know, our higher self, like, you know, tame nature a little bit. Or it could be a indirect programming that you don't want to listen to. You know, you're having a dream about gardening, but it's showing you the person that's fixing the garden up for you, it's a Nazi soldier or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Sending you that message of, nah, you've been programmed to tame your nature by somebody that wants you to program your or tame your nature in essence, you know. So again, that's the little tricks and trades of the subconscious program. Now, also, I just wanted to bring up, because they speak about the magic circle. Matter of fact, and again, reading from the book, Crowley's personal secretary and fellow Golden Dawn member Israel Regardie. That's Israel Regardie, huh? A Golden Dawn member named Israel. how coincidental is that? But the secretary and fellow Golden Dawn member Israel Regardie notes concerning the circle. You know, I'm basically about to bring up the reading the quote. The principal symbol common to every operation is the magical circle. By definition, this figure implies a confining space, a limitation, separation that which is within from that which is without. You know, so, you know, the circle separating with that which is within from that which is without or outside. By the use of the circle, the magician asserts that within the self-imposed limitation, he confines his labors, that he limits himself to the attainment of a specific end, and that he is no longer in a maze of illusion, and perpetual change as a blind wanderer without aim, objective, or aspiration. The circle is in the circle in which the magician is enclosed represents his particular cosmos. The conquest, self-inaugurated of that universe, is part of that process of the some people just try to be too smart with their sentences, and I'm reading it like it's just gonna go smoothly, but it's one of them, they being difficult with the structure of it, so I gotta go back and read it so I don't sound like I'm retarded. And I don't mean that in a unrighteous connotation. There's no bad and good, and y'all know where my heart is, so it don't matter. The circle in which the magician is enclosed represents his particular cosmos. The conquest, self-inaugurated. The circle in which the magician is enclosed represents his particular cosmos. The conquest, self-inaugurated of that universe, is part of the process to attain complete self-consciousness. I didn't really comprehend that good reading that, but but speaking to the circle, now one thing I remember, always shout out to the brethren, Brother Panic. He has spoke on I forgot the guy's name. His last name Runyon. Is a guy. I don't know if he comes from the OTO or what, but he speaks on magic. But he's talking about how, like, we're dealing with circles. But what I'm speaking on too, it's not the point that this statement is trying to make. I'm gonna get into that. But I'm thinking about, Brother Pan was talking about, though, when you're trying to tap into something that's, extremely powerful, and strong, like, what makes you think a circle is going to enclose it? But they was more talking about, like, when you're summoning certain energies or entities, in essence, you know what I'm saying? It's like, like, if it's so great and powerful, what would make you think that a circle wouldn't contain? So just basically it was saying, like, yeah, we use magic circles, but in a lot of cases, we use them in essence when they shouldn't be used. Like, like if you tapping into something where you want, like, extremely powerful situation going on, you know what I'm saying? Or if you summon an extremely powerful being, that's another thing too. They're just making the sense of it, like, like, if that being is that powerful, then why would it be able to be contained by a certain, you know what I'm saying? But that's more so speaking to, tapping into a stronger energy, and just, again, it's just talking about the sense of the circle. Like, in other words, it don't make sense to have a circle if you're tapping into something that's supposed to be so powerful. And so, in other words, if it could be contained by a circle, then how is it so powerful, and why am I dealing with it in the first place if I was looking for something so powerful, So more in the sentiments of that. But now with this implying, is like, so what they're implying with this, so say, by the use of the circle, the magician asserts that within this self-imposed limitation, he confines his labor, that he limits himself to the attainment of a specific end. Think of a magic circle as like a bullseye. And also, magic circles, this also ties into King Solomon, in the 72 Goetia, where basically, it's sigils and symbols of Solomon that directs, the God energy, because say, for you got the wholeness of all that is, source, but then you want to tap into particular energies of source that do particular things. And that's where you get the 72 names of God, or these different sigils or symbols, the seals of Solomon, and speaking of directing God's energy, bam, the word magic that directly correlates to, making a movie. Because what do people in movies, direct God's energy to a certain extent, you know what I'm saying? So, being a magician is directing God's energy, or in essence, the magician of a director of a movie. You got directing God's energy to display a certain, image for people. But again, the magic circle is like a bullseye targeting your intention directly, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like, so again, and when they say limit, well, which I don't like using the word limit at all, but they're using the word self-imposed limitation, and that limits himself to the attainment of a specific end. Because a circle is a limit. Matter of fact, speaking back to what I just talked about with this, like a sum so big, how could it be limited by a circle? But when you focusing on a particular energy you want to tap into or deal with, it's like I'm focusing on this right here. This is my bullseye on my circle, what I'm trying to make happen. And basically, and that he is no longer in a maze of illusion and perpetual change as a blind wanderer without aim. You know what I'm saying? Without aim, you got the circle, you got his eye on, So it's no longer in the maze of illusion or perpetual change or blind wonder without aim, because they know how to direct God's energy. Compared to, like, again, it's cool, there's the vibe of live and let God, but then, you also got to know that you are God and you do have will to set intentions and, change things around. You are co-creating. So, if you may not change it right then and there, it's just because you co-creating, but you still have that creative energy that's manifesting the things in your physical. And the magic circle just gives aim to that God energy, like, hey, I want to direct it right here dealing with love. I want to direct it right here dealing with making my jewelry and being successful in business. You know what I'm saying? Because God is everything. You just, oh God, I want to do good and and of course that works. And of course, again, God is within you, so you're not like going outside yourself. But I'll get back to it. But again, the magic circle, sets intention on. That's what I was gonna say. Like, and I spoke to this in older videos too. If you go look up, but like how it's better to speak to, ancestors, spirit guide, like, the energy that's close around you, who, like, especially ancestors, because our ancestors, certain relatives did, our relatives in essence are unique and probably deal with a specific thing. Like, like you probably had a uncle that or auntie, had some money or dealt with money good or whatever the case may be, and it's like, you call upon their energy. Hey, you can help me to get a few coins together, compared to just trying to, the broadness of source. That's why too, like with the generalizations of your affirmations, like when they so general and broad, it takes it a longer time, or just say it's a longer process for it to manifest, compared to when you're more specific, more specific or direct in that God energy to a direct place, what I'm saying, or point or circle, But, and then you see the ring of Solomon, again, the ring of Solomon, the 360 degree, the pentagram, the five senses, each five senses are five ends to each star. And also, you got the five senses. The star has 5 points. You also, in essence, got like a pentagram at the top of your toroidal field, and you'll see it in the middle of an apple. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like the five senses personified in the geometry of our, of our being. And, in phi, the phi ratio, or the golden mean ratio, 5, 5. You know what I'm saying? So you see, and then again, the 5 times the 72 Goetia of, say for the pineal, where you could say that, which, I would look at it where you could see it as like, so 72 Goetia in your hand chakras, and for the, the releasing under your feet, but the feet don't necessarily have chakras. So that's why I like using the analogy more so just with the 5 senses, instead of like, because it is like, you got the 72 Goetia within your pineal, but it's also like say for instance, how you get the analogy of the ring of Solomon, it's the 72 Goetia times 5, the 5 points on the star, gives you a 360 degree ring. Lord of the ring, because Saturn is Lord of the rings, and King Solomon, had the rings, and, also dealing with the rings and being able to, again, manipulate matter on the physical, on the physical realm, Because Solomon dealt with the Damians or the demons, that's just basically he learned how to direct God's energy in so many different ways, and he was good at it, you know, quote unquote. Because King Solomon is not a real figure. Like, this is not like, again, these is all analogies, allegories for different energies, which I forgot who you could correlate Solomon to, but soul, like the sun, solo man, the son of man, Solomon. Because also there's a bunch of different depictions of the Christ energy too, like you got your fake Jesus in the Bible, but to a certain extent, different characters in the Bible was also made to mimic that same Christ energy in essence. Just a different name and to a certain extent somewhat of a different situation. But which, with the Bible has a lot of redundant situations. I think about when I was first reading the Bible, and I used to laugh at how, like, at the beginning, how many, and which this is an analogy for something else, you know what I'm saying? But like, how many times did God ask like a certain prophet to sacrifice their son or kill their son, or see how far they would go before they kill, but just some of that nature is always about sacrificing somebody else, killing somebody else, or somebody becoming jealous and wanting to hurt somebody else, and there's a lot of Old Testament vibes, but it's all analogies, you know what I'm saying? Judas is the Scorpio constellation, kissing the sun, like giving it, like betraying the sun, kissing it right before it goes into Sagittarius and Capricorn, into Satan world or Saturn, into the winter where the days are shorter, which mean, in essence the sun is dying or is dead, because you have less daylight, in the days around the winter time. So the Son of God has been crucified, but he resurrects around the beginning of the year, the real beginning of the year, April. April Fools, this is the real beginning of the year. Happy New Year's. And again, to brief on that situation, you got the whole situation with the Gregorian calendar, which was created to track whenever the Earth, Sirius, and the sun were in alignment with each other. So that's why the year starts in January, but which is not the true essence of it. The beginning is in the springtime in April, like the Aries around the first constellation, the beginning, the head, so that's where it starts. And the reason why, you got September, October, November, December. Sept is 7, Oct is 8, No is like, like 9, and D like 10. Well, why is it, September is the 9th month instead of 7th? This one is the 10th month, it's the 11th, and this one is the 12th. That's because somebody changed some things around according to what they was trying to keep up with. Because, by keeping up with Sirius, the sun and Earth, you're aware of when your quote unquote slaves are gonna be hip to certain energies, you know what I'm saying? Because again, their whole vibe is just trying to, have power, and to have power, you gotta oppress the melanated people on the planet, in essence. So their whole thing was like, all right, when this little alignment come around, so we could know when to, throw churches fried chicken in their face, or know when to shoot a brethren to make them mad and not focus on the the energy within themselves. Like, that's how they plan all these things, is dealing around certain energies. When there's a certain time for you to meditate, they're gonna do something that's trolling you. Not say trolling, it's up to you to allow yourself to be trolled, but they're gonna do something that they're trying to troll you with, to get you to focus on that and have your energy, focus on what they're doing instead of getting your own energy right. So that's another aspect to that as well. But I digress. Just wanted to speak on that initiation process. How that indirectly works. And again, go check out the movie Eyes Wide Shut if you're interested. It's on Netflix. But that's basically it. Just how they initiate you by having initiation within the movie. You know what I'm saying? And you are indirectly being initiated into the process through the program, through the subconscious programming of the situation. Which I had this situation again. Like I had somewhat of a seemed like a synchronized situations that really wasn't, that almost seemed like the same little recruiting style that they got in this movie. When you check it out, you see what I'm talking about, where you'll see that all the characters that Tom Cruise come, and that's what's fire about this movie, the way Kubrick does this movie on an artistic level, where not saying nothing, it's just like it leaves it up for your awareness of what's going on, and I like that, what I'm saying, but which in essence as also low key was programmed into that conspiracy mode, and you know like that synchronicity of like the people was lining up, but like where you had to just know, like a matter of fact, I think about the tightest part was when his wife, he got back home, and say for instance to him, his wife didn't know what he'd been doing these few days, getting back and forth with that little cult situation. Then when he go back to his crib, he got his mask that he wore to the little ball sitting on his pillow by his wife. And that's when he just cracked like, oh shit, because matter of fact, cause they done told him, they made him take off his mask at the ball and done exposed him. And he kind of like spooked, because they like making it seem like they was gonna kill him. And that's the thing, like, oh, we don't kill this and that, but then come later, the lady ends up dead, who at the ball, she stepped up and was like, oh, I'll sacrifice myself for him, in so many words. And they making it sound like it's just a game, but then you come and find out she really transitioned. And then he talked to one of the guys, the doctor, who kind of indirectly initiated him as well. He was like, oh man, it's just a charades and this and that, So again, back to that, am I dreaming? Am I not dreaming? And you will pick up that vibe as the viewer as well, So again, just have your awareness, on point. But that's basically it. Again, Hollywood casting spells, The Acacia Wood, matter of fact, Bright, the movie Bright, indirectly playing with that vibe in essence, with them being in Hollywood, being in Los Angeles, and the brethren got the little wine, and the elf wine, and no human could touch it, and this and that. But that's all kind of, the wine is the Hollywood. That's why Walt Disney is praised so much in the movie industry, and swallowing up all other forms of mediums, like Disney owns ESPN, all kind of things. You know what I'm saying? It's part owned, or if it doesn't own now, it's starting to get into Marvel and stuff like that. Cause that's why the Guardians of the Galaxy made that Mary Poppins reference, within it, and why they were allowed to. Cause another thing, Disney got their shit locked tight and clan. Like, you can't just be, throwing their little names and stuff out there. They try to come at you on some which we ain't, deal with that. We ain't fearing none of that, but just speaking on it. They definitely coming at people on that vibe. Yeah, you see how Disney, promoted, and then one of the little main cartoons that I remember too as a little kid, or that you may be familiar with, or the way they depict Mickey Mouse all the time is as that magician, with the little top hat, the little red, I think it was a red coat representing your root chakra, being in that, probably trying to strike fear in you more than trying to give you courage. But he was working in this little place, and then he split a broom, and then he had a wine, and he started doing the magic. But then, and that was another thing, was trying to personify, like he was doing the magic and it was all cool, talking about Mickey Mouse with the little thing, Fantasia or something it's called. And then all of a sudden, the magic gets out of hand and things start to, it's too many brooms or something. I kind of can't recall exactly, but I do remember like where it's like, oh wait, hold on, like where Mickey Mouse kind of got to where it's like too many brooms or too much water or something going on. but also kind of indirectly, matter of fact, subconscious programming, trying to indirectly show you the chaos of magic in essence, but trying to make it seem that way in more of a derogatory way that would scare you away from magic in essence too. That'd be their little aims. But I digress. Peace. Happy now. Now is the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Peace.